Hi, Virgo rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 24th of March until the 31st of March. So, Virgo, we are using Western whole sign house system, and this week is about the management of the other. Your focus is a little bit split this week because you have got quite a strong seventh house where your sacred mission and your strategy lie. And then you've got a strong eighth house happening as well, where pretty much the heavy lifting is happening right there. So, but let's break it down what is actually happening. I mean, we are moving away from this resource confusion to more of accountability. What I mean by that is that Sun and Neptune met last week in the sign of Aries. Of course, we spoke about that last week in your eighth house, and maybe that was a bit of a financial or intimacy fog for you. Maybe you were unclear about how much debt you've got, or where you went wrong with tax issues, or where you truly stood in your partnership. But now Sun is running into Saturn in the very same house. And the dreaming is ending. The auditing is happening here. So we're gonna have to be looking at our shared assets, our debts, our deep contracts with others. Saturn is there to help you build a more rigid structure around how you merge your life with others. It's having to have a clearer boundaries set with finances because maybe the partner spent a lot of money last week. Now we're gonna have to ask questions. We're gonna have to get a bit more serious about it. Now, Sun rules your 12th house and Saturn rules your 6th house. So this is the health axis. So last week you might have gotten a little bit more on the sickly side, and then now Sun and Saturn together is kind of like sitting down, and then we are coming up with a remedy. What type of changes do I need to make in my life to feel better? Now, that Saturn is important because it is making a sextile to Pluto in your sixth house. And might need to go back to 2020 January, thinking what happened there, because the initial conjunction between them two took place in your fifth house, the house of creativity, joy, your relationship with children. You had to learn what it takes to be truly disciplined about your own self-expression, what it means to be self-employed, for example, and how to pull up a business, what it means to become a parent. Now, all those that you learned has to be applied, but to sixth and eighth house matters. So maybe, this is an operational discipline you have been building in your daily work since 2020, and you're going to have to use that to secure a joint investment or a settlement, for example. This is about, the daily grind with the sixth house, but we're gonna have to like working on something so that we can create this long-term shared security. I mean, imagine that you have been working on a system at the office, but this is the week you use that efficiency to negotiate a better deal, for example, in a partnership or a bank loan. We have got a Vesta and North conjunction happening in your seventh house, also on the 27th. And this is your sacred mission this week. Vesta is about devotion. North Node is where your growth lies right now. So this is in the house of marriage, business partnership, one-on-one connections. So maybe you are devoted to your partnership, not just about getting along, but you know what? This is the temple. This is the bread and butter of my relation, like of my life, right? So I'm going to be treating clients differently. I love my partner, and then maybe we have to be fixing things up. Maybe it's about coming up with an agreement with a specific person in your life as well. Like we are going to be relating in a specific way. We are going to be prioritizing depth over superficiality. Remember, the Northland is trying to pull you towards finding growth, and that growth is going to come through radical devotion to another person. This is about protecting the us. And if we don't do that, we're going to fall apart. You also have got Mars and Pallas Athene conjunction happening in your seventh house, which definitely adds this tactical strategy when it comes to your negotiations. This is telling you there is no point in arguing or just talking. We have to be creating a win-win scenario. And in the sign of Pisces, we have to lead the conversation, for example, by empathy. So Polos here is allowing you to see the pattern in your partner's behavior or your client's needs, your audience. Imagine that you are in a legal talk or a contractual negotiations, and it tells you not to use much force. This is a little bit more like, playing the chess. That's very Pallas Athene related. And I'm going to try to see the next move before actually it happens. We have got quite a planetary cluster in your 11th house as well, in the sign of Cancer. We spoke about that last week. We've got Jupiter there, Apollo, Isis, Eros, and now Sappho is joining the club too. So this is about spending some great time together with your tribe. We can go for community events, we can launch something to our audience. You might even feel loved and supported by your friends as well. If not so, then this is potentially asking you to cut them out of your life. And Venus moves into your ninth house, straight away making a square to Juno in your sixth. Wherever Venus is, it wants to beautify something. So it wants to find beauty in a foreign country, in higher learning, and the beauty of the bigger picture, basically. But Juno is very committed to the daily work, to chores, your health routines. So imagine that you want to be taking a trip or you want to study something, but you have made a vow to your office that you're gonna come in to work at the weekend, and the course would take place at the weekend. Something is obviously Venus is disrupting your daily routine, your physical routine, and that might be connected to an exam. And I don't have the time to go to this, to the gym and so forth. Maybe you want to go to a seminar, but there is a deadline happening at work. So Virgo, it really feels like that Saturn wants to fix your shared finances or your psychological blockages. It wants you to potentially secure your debts and investments, while all that seventh house energy wants you to grow within the partnership and allowing the other person across from you to grow as well. And maybe the other message is not to let your daily grind stop you from traveling or learning, but make sure that you keep your promises. I would say that it's important that you listen to the general forecast because I'm giving you additional details in there. I'm giving you the sensitive degrees. And those degrees are super important because you're going to have to compare it with your natal chart. And the single most important aspect of the week is always the one that is very close to a natal planet of yours. So that's why I would be listening to that daily or weekly forecast. But maybe it's about, sometimes you have to take chances. And maybe the Saturn Sun conjunction is telling you that you have been afraid to take chances. You are afraid of losses. And Aries is trying to encourage you to do something about that. Saturn in Aries is all about effort. So efforts being made to overcome some of your karmic wounds as well, because the sun rules your 12th house. Also, we still have got a lot of water in our chart, so there is still a lot of emotional intensity as well as heightened emotions going on. And I would say with that eighth house, if you're not able to be vulnerable and then you just bury that, then It's kind of like the emotions are digesting you inside out. So let the anger out, let the frustration out, and feel free to talk about your own emotions, for example, towards a partner of yours, because that's going to be bringing you a lot of healing. You can have a lot of guilt as well within you that you should have done this. What if I had done that? And so on. This is also just dragging you back to the past. So therefore, you are better off moving forward. So good luck, Virgo rising, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.